Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Kayfabe Coffee, the show that keeps it real while we pretend it's real. Good morning, everyone. I'm your host, Mr. OTM Kyle Gagliardi, the barista of broken kayfabe, if you will, pouring out hot takes stronger than a Starbucks shaken espresso. Welcome to Kayfabe Coffee here on the Main Event Wrestling Network. It is Thursday, March 26th, but if you're JPJ and myself, it also is MLB opening day. I got my St. Louis Cardinals jersey on. They're going to be dog water this year. But a team that's not going to be dog water is my friend JPJ's Boston Red Sox. Good morning and happy opening day, my friend. Oh, hold on. You're muted on mine.
Oh no, that's me. That was me.
There you
that
go.
Was me.
You're good now.
Happy opening day. One of the best days of the year. I know technically opening night was last night. But yeah,
Who won, by the way?
I believe the Yankees did, but Aaron Judge struck out 4 times, and he's the only reigning MVP in history to strike out 4 times on opening day. So
You know what my friends have been calling him since he was the captain of the WBC team? They're calling him Crapton.
you know, the people in New York are used to it, but it usually just happens in October. But it is what it is. He's a great player. I'm not. Listen, it is what it is. So I think they won. Officially, I think it was 5-0 when I checked it, and I was like, all right, whatever.
I was going to say the presentation was a little weird, wasn't it? I saw a lot of people had some gripe about it.
Well, first of all,
how was it?
I don't know, and again, I'm going to sound like an old man. I don't know.
7-0 Yankees.
7-0. Yeah. So they had Max Fried on the hill. Yeah, and they're going against the Giants. The Giants aren't that good.
They're okay.
So yeah. I listen, what do you call it? The previews and all the stuff they did. Barry Bonds was on the panel. It was kind of cool hearing Barry Bonds. Like, he's not a guy that does that type of stuff. So like, it was cool to hear Bonds in the pre-show, like talking about baseball and like, because he's, regardless of what you feel about him, he's probably a top 3 player of. He's like maybe the greatest hitter of all time. So like, he's
definitely in the top 3. Yes.
Yeah. So like, hearing him talk about baseball and like seeing him was cool, but like game didn't almost start until 8. I felt like I was watching Raw. I was like, oh, you're going to tell me it starts at 8, but we're not starting until 8:14. Like, what's going on here?
That's just Netflix in a nutshell, right? You
that's
got
what
the
I'm like,
Love is Blind crap that they got to schmooze it up for. Like, that's just what they do.
And it's like Jey Uso was there. They had him yeeting. And I'm like, all right, cool, man. And then,
trying to get their money's worth.
Yeah, so it was like stuff like that where I was like, is this, again, you want to grow the game. The way you grow the game is by getting young people. And baseball is cool again. I feel like baseball has gotten cooler over the last 3 or 4, 2-3 years. I feel like baseball is bouncing back as far as being like people are interested. Like the World Series last year was one of the best World Series of all time. The World Baseball Classic was really good. It got people enthused for the season, and it's a good thing. But at the same time, I'm also like, did it really need to be on Netflix? You want your opening night to be on Netflix? Like, why wasn't it on Fox or ESPN or NBC? They have a game today and this afternoon on NBC. The Mets are playing on NBC today.
Well, so the crazy thing is, I think somebody just tweeted out yesterday, they're like, you have all these services, similar to like wrestling. You have to buy a bunch of different services just to watch your team play nowadays. But the one place you can't watch it is MLB Network, because they never have any games anymore, which is crazy. You have a network dedicated to the sport, and you don't broadcast games there, which is insane.
No. And then, like, a lot of the teams, I don't know if the Cardinals do it. I mean, I know they've been struggling and, been near the bottom the last 3, handful of years.
We didn't need to add that.
But do you have your, like, does your
Cardinals TV?
You have your owner has its own TV channel.
So it just was implemented this year. For $100, I get all the Cardinals games, which, I mean, if you look at that, that's less than $1 a game.
But why do you have to pay? You don't understand what I'm saying?
Because I'm out of the market, technically. I'm 5 hours away from, I'm in the Chicagoland market. So
okay.
I live 45 minutes away from Chicago.
That's fair. But so my team, my owners, they have a TV channel named Nesson. And Nesson's been around my whole life, right?
Never heard of it.
But that's what they show. All the Red Sox games, unless they're a national game, all the Red Sox games.
It's not extra money?
No, it's part of the cable package. You got to have the cable package that has it. Now, for me, because I don't have cable, and I have YouTube TV.
Same.
Who lives 30 minutes from Fenway Park, I have to pay $30 a month.
They're blacking it out?
Yes, because I can't watch it because MLB blacks out.
Oh, I hate that shit so much.
But MLB does that everywhere.
They do.
Now, I have T-Mobile as my phone provider, and one of the best things about T-Mobile is you get MLB TV for free.
That's right.
Every year.
So one of my friends is a White Sox fan, and he just said the same thing because they're blacking out White Sox games in the Chicago area.
Exactly, because that's how MLB works. So MLB look, I love football. I love football. I love all sports, but I love football. But baseball's always been my baby. I love baseball.
That was my first love.
It was my first love. Baseball's always been my favorite sport. It always will be. But baseball cannot get out of its own way. And it's been this way my whole life. Baseball's cool again. They're going to have another fucking lockout next year.
Yeah, 100%. Which is fine with me as somebody that's a fan of the Cardinals. That gives us another year to develop. But if you're a baseball fan, it sucks.
But nobody can develop if they're not playing, dude.
That's also true.
You can't develop if you don't play.
True that.
So it's like the last couple of years they've made the pitch clock has been great. They've made the game cooler. Like the young stars, especially the Latin American stars, bring energy and their personality and things like that. And like it's connecting, and baseball's growing, and it's getting cool again, just in time for them to argue because fucking cheap ass billionaires like my piece of shit owner John Henry, who again we're gonna have a great team. I expect us to be competing for playoffs and World Series. He's a cheap bastard, and he has been for a decade. And because they want a salary cap, because they don't want to spend money that they have.
Isn't that funny? You have billionaires fighting over millions of dollars, and it's not just baseball. It's other sports, and it's like TKO with ESPN and all that. They're fighting over billions of dollars. I'm like, does it really matter? To them, it does.
I always tell everyone when I run into like sports fans of any sport where they have when they have a team that just routinely stinks or doesn't spend money and all this stuff, and they go, "Oh, the Dodgers are ruining baseball. Oh, the
Tell
Dodgers
your owner to spend money."
Hey, well, you know what? Every owner of every sports team in America is a billionaire. Every single one of them. They can do what the Dodgers do. All of 100%. Our teams can do what the Dodgers do. They just choose not to because they care about lining their pockets more than putting a good product out on the field.
Yep, they want to put butts in seats. That's all that matters.
Especially in the MLB with all the licensing and the rights, they get hand over fist money every year. If they did nothing, the poor and I think the Pirates are actually going to be like a bounce back team this year. But the poor Pittsburgh Pirates, who their owners have been trash for 30 years, not spending any money, not doing anything, they make as much money as the Cardinals owners do at the end of the year because of the licensing rights, or the Red Sox, or the Yankees, or everybody makes the same. Yeah. They just choose not to do that because they can make their billions by not doing it. Doesn't matter. Fenway Park is going to be sold out every game,
all the time,
whether the team is 0-162 or 162-0. Because if it's not Red Sox fans that are going, it's Cardinals fans when the Cardinals are coming. There's only 37,000 seats. It's a small state. It's an old small stadium.
I know for firsthand experience. That's the one park that I haven't been to that I'm saying I got to get to Fenway.
You have.
I got to get out there. Like I've been to Busch. Busch is, in my opinion, a top 5 stadium in the MLB. You got Wrigley that I've been to. That's definitely a top 5 stadium in the MLB. So it's like I got to get my way out to Fenway. But hey, we could sit here and talk about baseball forever. But eventually, we're going to have to get to some wrestling. I think some people here are going to want to talk wrestling, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
We could keep talking baseball. Let us know in the comment section who your team is.
Just so you know, Fenway is a top 1 stadium.
Well, that's like me when I say Lambeau's top 1 for the NFL stadiums.
Yeah, but I feel like it would be. I feel like it's
You've never been, have you?
No.
To Lambeau?
No. Ooh. And they're getting rid of it, but I would say like Lambeau, Soldier Field in Chicago, even though they're moving out of there for some reason.
Not that great, to be honest with you. Even the Bears fans would say that too. Hey, yo, what's up, Jay Gold? Good to see you. You've probably been awake for 5 hours since you're old and wake up early, but there will be a roast of Jay Gold on the 24-hour stream, Memorial Day weekend, so stay tuned for that. That's breaking news. I guess I could have done a better job at, opening up that. But speaking of opening, happy opening day from Jay Gold. He's a Mets fan. You got anything to say about the Mets, or are we cool with the Mets?
No, I think they give him enough to Yeah.
It's a stress over.
Listen, I like the moves they made this year. They made a lot of good.
That's an owner that spends money.
Well, yes, and like that I can appreciate. Now, last year they spent a whole ton of money, clearly the wrong way, because the way they didn't make the playoffs was embarrassing. But I like the moves they made. I like the trade for I call him Luis Robert, but I like the trade for Robert.
He should have been a Cardinal.
He should have been a Red Sox years ago.
Well, at the very beginning, he was deciding between the White Sox and the Cardinals for his first team, and he chose the White Sox because of their a lot of Dominicans, I believe, were on the team, so he wanted to go there.
Which is fair, but
I mean, I get it, but could have been a Cardinal.
I like the moves they made. I like Freddie Peralta. I think he's a good pitcher. I like Bo Bichette's a great hitter. I had to see him year after year with Toronto for the last whatever.
I'm glad he's not a Cub. I am glad. Ooh, Jay Gold, Boston. Yuck! I knew that was coming. He's a New York guy.
He's a Mets fan. He has no issue with me. We don't like the other team.
That's true.
I don't know.
That's like us and the White Sox fans. We kind of have a similar bond there.
Yeah, but when you haven't won anything of a significance since 1986, oddly enough, they beat my team to do it.
Oh, really?
But yeah,
our team's got a lot of beef. Our team's got a lot of World Series beef.
Yeah, your team does because you just don't win any games when we play each other in the World Series.
Yeah, I've at least seen 2 World Series in my life. A lot of people can't say that.
How'd those go for you?
Great.
Yeah, because we beat you both times.
No, I'm saying I've seen us win 2 World Series. I've seen 2 wins.
Jay Gold, that's just jealousy. That's just jealousy there. That's all. Look at people hate winners, man.
They do. That's probably why people hate Swerve Strickland and Kenny Omega. I'm not saying we hate them, but that kicked off the show last night.
I don't know how you could hate anything about that match. That match was unbelievable. It was better than the first one.
I was surprised that they decided to kick it off because if you look at the card, to be honest, I think this is deserving of a main event spot. But something we always say, you got to start hot, right?
I think we all went into this show thinking that this was going to be the main event. It was EVP status versus number 1 contender. So there were stakes to it.
Right.
And it's these 2 guys who, a month ago, they main evented in their first match, which was an unbelievable match. And I thought this match was better.
It went long, about a half hour, right?
Listen, Eric, thank you for being here. I think all of us, New York, Boston, St. Louis, everyone, I think we can all say, fuck the Astros. All right, but all right. Jordan, though, stud.
He's on my show team now. I just pulled him in a pack yesterday.
Absolute stud. Well, we're in a fantasy league this year.
I know. I forgot about the draft. Nobody reminded me.
Man, you did. My team's good, man.
My team is not good.
No, your team's not bad. I thought every team.
Oh, really? It ended up being all right.
Yeah, I thought. I would hope. Yeah, you better check that shit.
Well, I did, but to be honest with you, like I told you, I think before, I haven't done fantasy baseball.
I was sending messages in the league chat all day saying draft tonight.
I didn't have my notifications on. That's on me.
That's
why I said that's on me. Hey, hand up. I don't know half these names on my team, dude. That can't be good.
What do you mean?
I mean, I know Corey Seager. I know Eugenio Suarez, Ketel Marte. Those are good. Yandy Diaz. But I got Burleson from the Cardinals, who was our Silver Slugger. That's something.
There you go. Yeah,
I guess more of a pitching team. I think pitching matters more in fantasy, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to make it a little bit even, but yeah. There are more pitching categories than there are hitting. But either way, this match was awesome. This match was incredible. We talked about, kind of how my fantasy booking last week of if Swerve won, that could be a way to get Hangman off this can't ever be champion again thing.
Right.
But we also felt dynasties in Canada, Kenny and MJF in Canada seems right for the title. This was, man. This was really, really good. I thought the ending sequence with the repeated V triggers and Swerve continually getting out of ways where Kenny's trying to give him the one-winged angel and Swerve is just not letting him do it. And then at the very end, obviously, he hits it to get the victory. But
I don't think this hurts Swerve in any way, shape, or form either. He's had insane momentum as of late on AEW television. Losing to a guy like Kenny Omega is not going to hurt his stock whatsoever. I think Swerve can still get back to that spot that you were talking about last week where he could really dangle that EVP status over Hangman's head. That's still definitely a possibility in my opinion. But like you said, with this Dynasty pay-per-view being in Canada, it seems like a no-brainer decision to put your arguably one of your best baby faces, Kenny Omega, against your number one heel. But I sit here conflicted because, man, I think Kenny could win. I think there's a legitimate shot that they can flip the title here and put it on Kenny for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hate that. I don't think MJF has to have a big long reign like he did the first time. I would have had Hangman beat him, but that's just me. But it feels right with Kenny Omega being back in the title. He hasn't had he hasn't been in the title, and I know he was injured a lot, but he hasn't been in the title picture in a long time. Like you said, he's one of the founders of the company. He's clearly looks healthy. Is he at is he his best days are behind him, I would say, but he's still having premier matches. He's the face, one of the faces of the company. Him being in the title picture and potentially winning the world title, it feels right. It feels like it was the right decision to have him go over last night, and the match was what a way to start the show.
No doubt. It was definitely my match of the night from at least last night's show. No doubt about that whatsoever. But I'm excited. And I said this on Twitter too. I think that people probably need to enjoy this Kenny Omega world title run, or at least him just being in the picture, because let's be real. He doesn't have much time probably ahead of him. You don't know how many times Kenny Omega is going to get another world title opportunity. This could be one of the last times we see him competing in the main event scene in AEW. So enjoy it while you have it, because you truly never know. And that goes for a lot of people that are about Kenny's age. And I know Kenny has dealt with a lot of health issues and whatnot. But Kenny Omega is truly one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Yep.
If you're a pro wrestling fan, seriously, enjoy it. Sit back and just enjoy these last couple moments with Kenny Omega, because we really don't know how long he's going to be here. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, good way to start AEW Dynamite for sure. But after that, we found out that we are getting Will Ospreay versus Jon Moxley at AEW Dynasty. That's obviously happening in a couple weeks. That should be for the Continental title, but I didn't see them say that the title is on the line.
I didn't see it either. They've just talked about how it's a grudge match.
I don't know if that's the right call. I feel like if you have a title, you might as well just defend it, right?
I would agree. I like this little thing that Ospreay did. I liked even the fact that he was like, hey, I guess I owe you a little bit of thanks, because even though you took me out, like it got me, I was at home and I got to spend time with my kid.
Yeah.
And like, so like, I thank you a little bit for that, but now, I'm here to take you out. And I me, I'm from Boston. So I love the whole, I want you a dynasty, motherfucker.
Sometimes it's just as simple as that, right?
Yeah. And that whole aspect, I love that. It feels like it should be for the title. Moxley has a title. The title should be defended. If this is not for the title, then why the hell didn't you just have Takeshita take the title off him?
Exactly.
Last pay-per-view, which he should have. You didn't do that, and now you're not even going to have this match for the title. What is the point? Because you don't want Moxley to lose. You want Moxley to lose to Ospreay, but you don't want Moxley to lose the title. What are you, WWE?
Exactly what it is.
Just
That's
Cody
exactly
Rhodes?
what it is. Yeah.
What the hell are we doing here?
Well said.
Make a decision. Put your balls on the table and do it. You didn't do it with Takeshita, which was a mistake. Takeshita should be the champion.
How many big matches has Takeshita lost? And I know wins and losses don't matter in professional wrestling, but at a point it gets to, like right now with Takeshita, yeah, it does matter.
It does. He's lost more than he should have. He should have won the CC.
I mean, you're right. If this doesn't have a title on the line, why didn't you just give the title to Takeshita then?
What's the point?
I get it. Jon Moxley's your ace. We talked about it last week. Jon Moxley is one of the guys in AEW, but he doesn't need to win every fucking match.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He is one of the guys. When I think of AEW, I think of him first. I feel like he showed up Double or Nothing, that first pay-per-view. It was the big, oh my God, Dean Ambrose is, Jon Moxley saying he's been the guy that has steadied. He's been the steady the whole time. And he's helped when the Punk stuff was happening, he stepped up and he took over, and he was the locker room leader, and he said, put the belt on me. I'll get us where we need to go. I understand why they value, of course they do, why they value him and book him the way they do. But at the same time, it's like, did he need to win the CC? And I've liked his title reign, But did he need to win the CC when Takeshita was sitting there right for you? No? Okay. Well, then you build to 3 matches with him and Takeshita. You build to a no time limit one. Why didn't Takeshita win that?
Yeah. Well, and another thing is, too, he retains his singles title, and then he goes right back to wrestling tag matches every week. He's having matches with the Death Riders. It's like, okay, you do have that title, so why aren't you defending it in singles competition? He just seems to be having these matches with every member of the Death Riders every week now.
Well, it's weird because he was doing the Eliminator thing where he was facing different opponents and he was doing, and I love that. It was like, all right, cool. He's facing different guys. It's one-on-one. He's just going out there and being Moxley and having good matches against different opponents. And then this stuff has been going on. So, and my thing is, the last 2 months or so, and again, first of all, I love a mixed tag.
Yeah.
This was good. And this, before we dive more into
Zeta Steel on television.
I was going to say, this was a really good showcase for Zeta Steel on Dynamite. She's great. I've always been a sucker for Top Flight. I like Top Flight. I think they're an underutilized tag team in that company. Dude, the things they can do.
People forget, at the beginning of the AEW run, Top Flight was heavily featured. Yeah, and Dante Martin won, I think, in 2022 on our year-end professional awards, Breakout Star of the Year.
Yeah, because
he was a singles giver. Yeah, because he got hurt.
Darius got hurt, and they did what they did with, I mean, it didn't get to that level, but like they did the same thing they did with Kyle Fletcher. They didn't just put him on the shelf. They said, hey, we're going to use you, man.
Run with it.
We're going to use you. Do your best. And he became, if they would have capitalized, who knows? But like, I just think they're an underutilized tag team. But Zeta Steel is great. She's been on Collision. She's been on Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. Now that we saw her on Dynamite, this was a good match for her to shine. Her and Marina had really good chemistry throughout this match. I thought the match was fun, but you knew the Death Riders were winning. This was no shock that the Death Riders won. But go ahead.
I was going to say the only shock was that Skyflight got on TV.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen them in a minute. I didn't even know that was a group because I don't watch Collision typically, and I don't catch up with Ring of Honor because there's a paywall. So seeing them on TV, I was like, where did Christopher Daniels come from? I didn't know he was a part of that faction.
Yeah. So it's just like they do this, but then also afterwards, Moxley cuts this he cuts a promo and he basically says, Ospreay, you want a grudge match at Dynasty, you got it, but don't let your mouth get you in a bad situation. Like don't let your mouth hurt you again, basically. Fine.
Ospreay can't lose that match.
No, of course. I mean, listen, the way they book Moxley, who the fuck knows? But like my thing is, Scorpio Sky is the leader of that group, by the way.
Oh, had no idea.
Yeah, so he's in there too. For the last 2 months or so, at least the way that I have taken it, is Moxley and the Death Riders were kind of like tweeners. They've been kind of baby facing it up a little bit. And now all of a sudden, Will Ospreay's that promo that he cut last night.
That was heel.
That was a world champion heel Death Rider Jon Moxley promo.
No doubt.
And I'm sitting there going, well, the last 2 months you haven't been that guy. You've been kind of that guy, but you've also been a little babyface-ish. You've been a little funny. You've been like teasing that you want the fans have been kind of getting, behind you a little bit, but now Ospreay's back, so now you guys are just back to bullshit bad guy here. Like
that's one of the things I have an issue with AEW because it's not just that. It seems like a lot of people kind of fluctuate their character week by week, and there's not a lot of consistency. And I get it. Not everybody needs to be a straightforward heel,
no, of course,
straightforward babyface, but you gotta lean somewhere. You gotta show some signs of heelish tendencies or babyface tendencies. I can't have that tweener shit forever. That's just personal preference. But after that, Mike Bailey defeated Rocky Romero, and I don't really have much to say because that match was about as quick as my sentence right there.
Yeah, listen, I like that they gave Speedball a good win like that. I am pro squash matches on television. I think you shouldn't do them all the time, but if you do them in situations like this where you just want to get somebody a nice win or you want to try to really push somebody, I am pro a squash match. This was a glorified squash. Romero makes fun of him at the beginning, gets a couple licks in, does his little slide thing, and then Speedball murders him. We'll talk about Speedball a little bit more. I like the way they portrayed Speedball. I thought they foreshadowed some good stuff with Speedball a little bit later.
Well, didn't they tease the world title opportunity coming down the line.
Yeah. Look, at Speedball is one of the best in the world. I think that they've proved that since they've stepped into AEW. I think AEW views Speedball very, very highly. And I think them being on screen with Kenny Omega later on in the night, very, very intentional. Because if Kenny wins, they'll be the first challenger.
Well, that's something that WWE does very well. They'll put a lot of guys that are lesser known or up and coming and pair them up with a major star, and that only is going to elevate them. You're 100% right, because Mike Bailey has consistently been on TV, him and Kevin Knight. Sure, they're not winning every matches, but they're putting up a good showcase every match, and that's only going to make us care about them more when they do get those opportunities for the world title in the future.
Yep, and it's only going to make it even better that Speedball is being friendly with Kenny Omega on screen when the guy who lost that match to Kenny Swerve will just go to Kevin Knight and see, oh, did you know that your guy's he wants to go for the world title? He's leaving you behind, doing all this, continuing to poison the mind of Kevin Knight.
Story.
So Kevin Knight eventually knocks Speedball's head off, because that will happen. And he will go to the dark side with Swerve.
Kevin Knight, that would be a money pairing there with 100%. Nana too.
Right now they're the trios champions. Jet Speed is fantastic. Keep them together for a little bit, but there's just a lot of stuff with that. It's a small little segment with Speedball and Kenny, but there's a lot of stuff that can happen there, because I think Swerve can use that to his advantage with Kevin Knight. I think that this sets up a potential world title match for Speedball, clearly. I think this also sets up stuff where Speedball could get involved with MJF.
Yeah.
If MJF went, I really liked what I saw here.
Hey, it's something we've been saying for the past couple weeks on this show. The AEW has done a great job at, creating multiple world title contenders, to where there's probably a list of 12 to 15 people that me and JPJ can go down right now and be like, yeah, I could see that person getting a world title opportunity this year. You probably can't 100%. Say that in other companies. I'm not going to name names, but you probably can't say that, because there's only a handful of guys that they keep in that title scene, it seems. But after that, here, let's continue with AEW Dynamite from last night. The Dogs finally got a win. It's been a while. Actually, I think this might be the first time that they've got a win on Dynamite. They defeated the Conglomeration, because all it took was Roddy Strong to officially join the Conglomeration for the Dogs to get a victory, apparently, JPJ, because David Finlay and I think it was Clark Connors that got the victory for the Dogs here last night.
It was. Yeah, this was another good match. There was some stuff that happened before this with, FTR was out there and they started brawling with Roddy and OC before that.
I must have missed that part, man. I must have been spacing out.
So Copeland and Christian cut this big promo in the back.
That's right.
And then that turned into FTR cutting a promo on them outside, in the ring area, the entrance area.
Yep.
And so they had some good stuff to say about each other. I thought both those promos were good. And Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong started coming out to the ring right as FTR finished. And Orange Cassidy and Stokely got in each other's faces, and Orange Cassidy did a fake little light.
Oh, I do remember
Orange
that.
Cassidy push.
I remember that.
And then FTR pushed Orange Cassidy to the ground, and then Roddy and they all just started brawling.
I miss Kyle O'Reilly. I know that's a random thought, but I'm thinking about all these people. I'm like, where's Kyle O'Reilly at?
Yeah, so they started brawling, so there was that aspect to it too. So they had already fought a little bit before this match even started. This match was good. It was a much needed win for the Dogs. I think this particular pairing of Finlay and Connors, this was their second win. I think they got a tag team win leading into the pay-per-view for only them to lose in their pay-per-view debut, because that was a dumbass decision. Yes, but regardless of that, Roderick Strong, man, been this smooth and this good for 20 years. I think he's better than ever in the ring.
He looks great.
It's incredible. This was fine. I mean, this was what it was. Crazy. Yeah. Again, another one of the listen. Most matches that AEW puts on Dynamite, they're going to be good matches. They're good. Yeah. And this was a typical, just like the mixed tag, the trios earlier. They know how to book them. They're exciting. They're fast paced. There's always a bunch of chaos and shit going on. This was another one of those matches, but I'm glad the War Dogs got the win because they need to get wins. They should be moving towards they should be the team that takes the trios titles off of Jet Speed and Mystico when Kevin Knight finally turns on like that. They should be the team.
They have so many potential trios combinations, and I feel like they really haven't fully invested time into that trios division ever since they brought him in.
Yeah.
So it's like, why'd you even invent the trios titles if you're not going to go full, go at it? I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, it was the right choice.
I don't know if Roddy will be joining the world title picture anytime soon. I think he's just now that veteran of the mid card, and I think that's a good spot for him to be in because not everybody needs to be in the main event scene. I say it all the time. Correct. I don't think no disrespect to Roderick Strong because he's great in ring, one of the best bell to bell. I don't see him as a world title contender anytime soon. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think that time for Roddy has probably passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, a one-off. You want to do like a one-off thing, like where he has a match on Dynamite or something?
Yeah, like Kyle O'Reilly's done that before.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it was fun.
I mean, I think he would fit that. I think he would fit that role, but I don't
holding it.
I don't consider him a viable candidate to be a world champion in AEW anymore.
There's probably 15 other names I think I could think of before Roddy, and that's no disrespect. Once again, just certain guys are on a different level of the totem pole.
Yeah. Is he good? Is he good enough to do it? Of course he is.
Yeah,
but I just don't think that that's his role currently.
I would agree. After that, we got women's title on the line as Tekla officially retained her women's championship. And shout out to Tekla as well, who has officially re-signed with AEW. I believe it was Fightful that reported that first. So congrats to Tekla on re-signing with AEW. But another really good match with Mina Shirakawa. And I think this time period right now for Mina is going to be very crucial for her because now that Toni Storm, we know she's going to be missing some time. It opens up a spot for a lot of the baby faces in that women's division. And I think Mina Shirakawa is somebody that could step up because she has the personality. She's got the history on AEW television to where people care about Mina when she comes out every time. Sure, she didn't win here against Tekla, but she got a big win last week. She's getting big matches. And I don't think it's an issue having Mina Shirakawa lose a world title match to Tekla here. I think Mina is still in a good spot in the women's division going forward in AEW.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I expect her to get the rematch at Dynasty. The way that, because Tekla cheated.
Guess you're right. Yeah, you're right.
She had to cheat to win. So, like, I don't expect it. Like, we were sitting here saying, why did Marina Shafir lose that match to Mina last week? That didn't make sense. What are they doing with Marina? Well, then we find out that Tony's gone for at least the rest of this year. At least.
They had to pivot.
So she's gone for 3/4 of the year now, and she is, whether she's the champion or not.
Did Toni report why?
No, they just said it wasn't injury related. So now, speculation.
Speculation
fans
is
are going
it
could be a whole whatever. Listen, she needs to take the time off. If that is the case, congratulations. If it's for other reasons, do what you need to do. Take care of yourself. She's the centerpiece of the women's division, champion or not. She's the most important person and the top dog in that division.
She should come back with a different character, I think.
I don't know, though. I don't know. That character's been, Well,
personally, look, I'm a little fatigued with it.
If you're going to be gone for a long time, that is the time to do it.
Reinvent yourself, yeah.
But you've seen people, I'm sorry, like, I didn't know anything about Tekla before she got to AEW. And this girl has impressed me from the second she stepped into the company. She's awesome. She has great matches, her intensity, her entrance, her music. And now that she's talking more and she's cutting promos and she's doing vignettes, she was a year and a half. She had a year and a half left on her 2-year original contract that they signed her to. And they re-signed her already to a long-term deal.
That's like the Cubs locking up PCA.
Yes. That's exactly. That's the Red Sox and Roman Anthony. That's the Cubs. That's like, oh, you've been here for a year. You're really good. We'd like you to be here for 10.
Yeah.
That's what they did with Tony. I mean, I'm sorry. That's what they did with Tekla is they said, oh, we signed you to a 2-year deal. We already love what you're doing. It's been 6 months. Here's however many.
Here's your contract extension.
Yes.
Yep.
Well-deserved, well-earned. She's been carrying this division for a few months now. She's been a great champion. And this match was awesome. And
it was.
Mina had her. Meaner had her, and she did the thing where she took off her belt. The referee was like, no. And the referee gets distracted, takes the belt from her. She pulls out the steel knuckles, the brass knuckles. Mina looks like she's going to hit her with a suplex or a finisher. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Now Mina can say, well, you cheated to beat me, so how about we run it back? Either no holds, like street fight with weapons, or
Dynasty.
No DQ, something, no DQ, Dynasty. I don't think Mina wins, but I think this leads to another good match for the title with these two, maybe with the stip. Tekla's a heel. I don't mind her winning as a heel and cheating, but Tekla's a heel.
My hot take is Mina Shirakawa's taking that world title at Dynasty.
I think that would be a mistake, but I think Tekla.
I see where you're coming from,
that division for a while.
Yeah, I think Tekla would benefit more than a lot of other women in that division for a longer reign, just because people still aren't familiar with her work. We know a lot about other women in AEW, the Mercedes Monets, the Chris Statlanders. They could have a short reign, but Tekla would probably benefit from having a long reign to really legitimize her as a main event going forward.
Yeah, and I think, I think that whoever beats Tekla should be, and again, this is not a slight, because I think Mina definitely has top of the card. I mean, she's fighting for the world title. She is top of the card stuff. But I think that with us knowing that Tony's out for a long time, I think if you're going to take the belt off of Tekla, it should be to really cement a new star, or a Mercedes comes back and Athena finally breaks through. Like, I think it should be that level.
I was going to mention Willow, but Willow's involved in too much right now outside of the world title.
Yeah, but like Willow is somebody who I think about. Like, if you tell me 6 months from now,
I would love to see Willow get a moment.
Yeah, if you're telling me at All In August, Tekla's still the champion, and Willow has lost the TBS title or whatever, and she's going to be the main challenger at All In for the title against Tekla, and that's going to be Willow's moment, I 1,000% will buy into that.
Me too. And I'm trying to think if there's a younger talent that they could really strap a rocket to, but I can't think off the top of my head, at least on the babyface side of things.
The babyface side,
Megan Bain and Megan Cross.
Yeah, you think Megan Bain, but they're I like what they're doing right now. When you think on the babyface side of things, it's really Willow.
It pretty much is.
I do think that they have something there, but it's way too early. But I look at a Zeta Steele and I say that's somebody down the line that I feel like could get to that level. But Mercedes is lurking.
I didn't know this. Yeah, I did not know this.
Yeah, she's lurking. And I think the Tony injury probably called the boss, Tony, to make a phone call a little bit earlier and say, hey, we have a giant void in our division now. Now, they have enough talent to fill that void.
No doubt.
But when you lose a star like Tony, it makes it a lot easier when you have potentially even a bigger star out there that you can just go, hey, can you come back and fill this? Because we just lost this person. Yeah. I think Jamie Hayter's another good one, but she's doing the tag team stuff with
she's with the Birds.
With Windsor. So
that's what I'm saying, is like a lot of the other top babyface women in that division are preoccupied right now. I could get up with one right at the top of my head, but I haven't heard anything from her in years. Britt Baker.
It's another one that's just, you always hear, she's like, it's not my choice. I'm ready to come back, whatever.
If you bring Britt back to come and beat Tekla, I think Britt becomes a huge babyface.
Yeah. I agree. I think she's a better heel, but I agree.
100%. Yeah, a lot of people are better heels just because it's more natural fit.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, it's one of those things where they have enough talent. They just need to use the talent right.
Athena's
to kind of fill the
great shout.
Athena's a really good one. Billy Starr. You got people, man.
Billy,
you got Deonna Purrazzo in Ring of Honor, just kind of not on
Queen Aminata. They would never do it, but I love Queen Aminata. Yeah.
Yeah. When Queen Aminata, I think she was hurt for a little bit. If she's healthy and good to go, she's a great one.
If Britt is done with AEW, then get to WWE already. I need Britt Baker back on my television screen, man. I love Britt Baker. I think she's great.
Yeah, I think she was a bit overrated, but
I think she's overrated. I'm not a sheet again.
She's one of the best in the world in the ring. But again, I think Britt was presented in a way that she kind of took the whole thing by storm, and she was the centerpiece of the company for a little bit, it felt like, and of the women's division. Yeah. But I also think since Britt's been gone, and we saw it when she came back, and this is where Britt was very unprofessional, and I kind of soured on Britt because she phoned it in during that Mercedes match, and she acted like a fucking child.
Oh, she sandbagged the shit out of that match.
Yeah, because she came back, and the division is better now.
Oh, it 100%.
It's
not the top dog.
It's a lot. It's easy to be the top of the, and I'm not saying she didn't earn it. She had great, monumental, historical AEW matches.
But like the top contenders were Nyla Rose, Shida, Thunder Rosa, and again, Riho.
Yeah, and again, those women are good too. But it's a lot easier to be at the top of the division when you're getting, I mean, and they still kind of do get one match a show sometimes, which is wrong. But like, there was no focus real besides Britt.
There wasn't.
One of the long-standing, and it's still kind of, even though it's gotten a lot better the last year and a half to 2 years, one of the long-standing arguments about AEW was they didn't give a shit about the women's division. Yeah. Well, it's a lot easier to be a star in the women's division when the company doesn't give a shit about the division. They only give a shit about you. Now Britt comes back, and Mercedes is there. Mina's there. Tekla's there. Megan Bain's there. Tony's obviously injured, but Tony's there. You have a division full of people that, at least in ring,
have lapped you.
Are better than you. So it's not like I don't know if Britt just comes in and star power wise, yeah, the name would be there, but she's gonna have to like earn and keep her spot because I think the people around her are significantly better now.
I think she would make a bigger splash if she went to WWE. I think that's just the better fit.
But I also think she's not.
She could go to NXT and be a pretty important piece in NXT.
I agree. And it's not all about work rate and ring. You know me. I like my wrestling both ways. I like my good matches and I like my juicy stories. Yeah. But at the same time, like over there too, he would have to. Oh, she's gonna have.
There's a lot of women, that are.
She's gonna have to float. Like you can throw her in there and she'll be a name and she'll get the pop, but she's gonna need to float.
Oh, there's not a better women's. I don't care what people say. The WWE has the best women's division in professional wrestling. I mean, from top to bottom, NXT has a list of 25 women that I could probably go down and be like, yeah, she's amazing. Like Kendall Gray, for example. Kendall Gray's been wrestling for a year and a half, I think. She's one of the best in the world. Not just in NXT, one of the best in the world. Like the WWE, that would be a total sink or swim kind of test for her, but who knows? We don't really know the status of Britt Baker because like she said online, it's not up to her. Yeah, and maybe that is the case, Eric. I did know, MJF kind of buried her online?
Something like that. They got in a backstage argument. MJF went into the ladies' locker room and punched a wall, or I don't know. That was,
not
again,
surprising.
That was back. Like, I feel like AEW, one of the best things about the company is basically the last 2+ years, you don't really hear... You heard all about all these backstage altercations.
Not anymore.
Sammy Guevara and Andrade got in a fist fight. Obviously, brawl out, and then you had the second brawl out with Punk and Jack, and a brawl in, whatever. Well, I feel like you don't really hear about that stuff anymore. No. But that was back in that stuff where apparently they had a disagreement about some stuff. So Britt, I don't really pay attention to the drama, but I think Britt in the locker room was talking some crap about MJF, and MJF's now wife was in that women's locker room at the time.
Yeah.
It was before she was on TV, but she was in that women's locker room.
Yeah, that
she
makes
told
sense.
MJF confronted Britt. It didn't go well. And
I'm with you. I try to stay out of the drama. It doesn't really do it for me.
I like my drama to be on the television screen.
True that.
I'm not in high school anymore. I'm a fucking 40-year-old man. I don't care.
You're 40?
Like, I get it. Yeah.
I thought you were in your 30s, man.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, but like, welcome. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. It comes with life. In real life, you and I, when we went to, wherever we've worked, you're not always going to be best friends with everybody you work with. Like, there's going to be disagreements. There's going to be hard conversations sometimes.
Gotta make it work.
Like, we're grown-ups. You're grown-ups.
Yeah.
So.
Just because you're in pro wrestling doesn't mean you need to take everything as an angle.
This isn't the 80s or 90s anymore, bro. We're not fist fighting in the showers.
Correct. Yeah. Get over yourself.
You're grown-ass people. Yeah. Have a conversation. And apparently, like, it wasn't, they got in a beef and MJF hit a wall or he got pissed, whatever. But, like, you're grown-ups, dude. And I get it. At the time, MJF's in his mid-20s. Britt's younger.
They both are young.
They're trying to make their, AEW's growing. They're young in the business.
I did dumb shit in my 20s, too.
We all do. So
I get it.
It's just like,
Happy opening day, Tino.
Yes, absolutely. Do I think MJF probably would have reacted the same way now than he did 4 or 5 years? Probably not. Probably.
Maybe not. Wait, I'm talking. I think you're talking about Bichette. Are you talking about Bo Bichette?
No, you're talking about Ricochet.
Ricochet, yeah. I think he's talking about Ricochet.
He cut a backstage promo on the show. There were a few.
He got booed.
He got booed. I thought so. He did the apology, whether it was forced upon him or a growing moment, whatever. I thought there was a chance because he had lost the title. I just thought it was kind of perfect timing, kind of anyway.
Yeah.
I thought there was a chance that maybe he'd be off TV, but you would be punishing the
demand.
The demand because those other two guys would have to,
They didn't do anything wrong.
And I like the way they even started the promo with Ricochet because he kind of even started on screen with an apology where he was like, hey, I want to apologize. The last time you all saw me, I lost my composure. And he was talking about how he kind of pushed Toa. But I think it was kind of a double-sided, like, you guys know why 100%. I'm kind of doing this. Yeah, man. Look at this difference between being a heel and being an asshole. And I think Ricochet kind of he
crossed the line.
He stepped over that line. And I think whether
he knows it. He knows
whether Warner Brothers, AEW, or Tony or whatever got to him, or whether he was like, shit, or it was somebody else, like, he knows he fucked up. And
I don't know Ricochet as the human being, but I'm assuming if I'm a heel character, he probably thought I'm just leaning into my heel 100%. Character online.
I don't think he was trying to do anything
exactly
on purpose or like to be. He was like
maybe he was. I don't know, but like that's just my assumption of the situation. He's playing his character online.
Yes, and I think that he was like, this is a chance to get major heat, and he probably was like, oh, this will be funny. And then it obviously right away
backfired.
Because there's a difference between ragging. You want to rag on somebody for being, and again, I'm a chubby guy. If somebody's going at you and you want to be like, shut up, fat boy, or whatever, you shut up, you bearded, fucking go your mom's basement. Like that's different than this person has a debilitating disease that's killed people.
Exactly. Yeah. Like once you go after like a disease or a disability that's something anybody can't really help. That's when you're crossing the line for me personally. So.
I mean, unless you're the president, then you just get elected.
Oh yeah, that's people like that stuff.
That's completely different. We don't have to dive down.
We definitely don't want to get into politics over.
No, we're not going to. But I mean, it works in that realm. But in pro wrestling, you can be a good person.
True that. So the main event of Dynamite, Darby Allin and Roosh. Listen, the match was crazy. Darby. My thing with Darby Allin is every Darby Allin match feels the same to me. That might be a me issue.
No, it's might be.
I get it. It's great for the live crowd.
Once you make the decision to open with Kenny and Swerve, which I think was a great decision.
Everything's fucked.
Why? Well, it's not even everything fucked because I thought the show was good, but why didn't the women's world title match main event the show? Why did this match?
I thought the same thing. Flip these two.
Why did this match have to? And I get there was an angle afterwards. I get it, and the angle involves MJF and his business arrangement with the cat. I get it. And they're clearly positioning. So I asked this because I do Dynamite up after Dynamite on Body Slam. I asked this question to Jose, so I'll ask it to you. First of all, I agree with you. The match was good. The main event match was good. It was crazy. Darby's getting
Roosh is awesome.
Again. I'm glad Roosh is back. Good main event spot for him. He looked awesome in this match, even though he lost. Their position. Okay, so we have the match at Dynasty, Kenny and MJF. I personally, as of right now, if you were to ask me who I think wins that match, I think MJF wins.
I would say you're right.
They're positioning Darby to be the double or nothing opponent for MJF, are they not? Because all they talk about, he's won 7 matches in a row. He's on fire. He's mentioned he wants to go after Max. That's going to be the double or nothing. Because the whole time I was like, oh, it's going to be Swerve. But now that Swerve, he's going to beat Kenny in Canada. And then it's going to be Darby and MJF in New York, is it not? That's where they're going. Or a multi-man, and maybe you involved Andrade. You can Andrade because this whole all right. So earlier in the night, Kyle Fletcher cut a backstage promo.
Yeah, he's going for MJF.
So they had their little crossing of paths for the first time a few weeks ago in like a backstage segment. Didn't say anything, but they kind of stared at each other. And MJF told Dawn, "Hey, it's in your best interest that you get your boy in line here."
Yep.
So Kyle Fletcher earlier in the night cuts a promo where he's saying like, I don't. He openly said, "I don't agree that we are working with MJF I think we should be trying to get that world title back into the Don Callis family, and I'm the guy to do it.
Yep.
And then Takeshita came on. They talked about Okada, and they hugged it out and blah, 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 blah. So you already have Kyle Fletcher openly saying he doesn't agree with working with MJF. Andrade last week with the briefcase stuff, he was very not happy. Tonight, this match happens. Darby wins with a cradle roll-up.
Yep.
And then as he's walking up the ramp, Mark Davis comes out and kills him with the pile driver. And
nasty pile driver, by the way. Quick, bang, boom, done.
I love Mark Davis
Beautiful.
So much. I love him. He does that, and the Don Callis family comes out, and they bring Darby in the ring, and they're beating the shit out of Darby. And the whole time, Andrade is yelling. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like it.
Well, you know who else didn't like it? The crowd. The crowd couldn't care less about that segment.
Yeah.
And that's why I think people are kind of fatigued with the Darby Allin thing, because you missed the boat when he was going to climb Mount Everest. That should have been the time frame where you built a Darby Allin as a world title contender. But now that momentum kind of seems to fizzle out, and now we are seeing like a rehash of what I think last year should have been this year. And I think that's where the disconnect is with me personally. And I get it. There's probably people watching live right now that love Darby Allin. Good. I'm glad you like Darby. Yeah. Me personally, I've seen it before.
To me, I mean, I personally, and I've said it the whole time, the whole Death Riders story was designed for Darby to be the guy that beat Moxley for the title. It was designed that way. And then he broke his foot. He couldn't do Everest when he was originally going to do it. He had to do it then. I mean, personally, if I was Tony Khan, I would have said, hey, man, I'm never going to tell you not to go do a life goal. You want to go do a life goal, you go do that. But I'm telling you right now is the time that I need you here, because I need to make you champion now. And if Darby decided, and he might have had that conversation.
He probably did.
And if Darby said, hey, I got to go do this, cool. Let him go do it.
Let him do his decision, yeah.
But now it feels like if you want to get Darby back into the world title picture, I'm all right with that. He's a day one guy. He's a pillar. Him and Max.
He works his ass off, yeah.
He works his ass off. He sacrifices his body every time we see him.
No doubt.
He's clearly over. The fans love him. When the entrance goes off, it's one of the biggest pops. You want to push him to the world title, fine. But can we see a little bit of a difference in character, or a little bit of a difference
match
in
style?
Motive? Match, you got to give me something different. You got to give
the
me
dives, just throwing your whole body out there, I've seen it before.
Yeah, and Eric, I feel like that is a little Tom. Hello,
what's up, Tom? I'll be on Tom's show in a little bit. I know you've been on Tom's show, but we've been talking
multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying there, Eric. I think that's a disservice to both of them, but I think it's a disservice to Mick Foley. Mick Foley, he did car crash moments, but Mick Foley was a damn good personality, and he was a damn good professional wrestler before his body broke down.
And storyteller. I'm not saying Darby isn't all those things, 100%. But Mick Foley was levels. There's levels to it.
Go watch In Your House Mind Games, where the original Mankind, bad guy, and Shawn Michaels, and go tell me that is not a 4 to 5. That's the level that Mick Foley was at. You know what? Mick Foley made dudes. He made Triple H. He made The Rock. Mick Foley was the guy the Undertaker needed a really good feud in the mid-90s because he was getting boring. Mick Foley showed up. It's a different level to me.
I see the comparison, though. I do see where you're going with there.
100%. And Darby, and I don't want to just put Darby into that, because I've seen Darby have great wrestling matches, too.
Yeah, like the Terry Funks. We're not just putting him in the hardcore category.
No.
He can wrestle.
Darby can wrestle. I've seen him have really good matches in AEW. It just feels like
copy and paste is happening right now. That's what's happening.
There's nothing new to what we're doing here.
Nothing. Not reinventing the wheel.
No, and I'm on board. If you're telling me that Darby Allin versus MJF is the world title match at Double or Nothing,
it would be great.
I'm on board with that as a match. But I need some sort of different layer with Darby going into that. I need a different layer. And
that's
maybe MJF is the one. Yeah, maybe MJF's the one that brings that layer out when we get to it.
100%.
I don't know, but I need something different from Darby here too. Because he has won 7 in a row. MJF has hired the Don Callis family to kill him.
Yeah,
because MJF doesn't want to deal with Darby. So that's obviously going to lead. Yeah, that's going to lead to something.
We know where this is going. Yeah, and you're 100% right. It's probably leading to Darby getting the crack at Double or Nothing. And If that's the case, MJF definitely isn't losing to Kenny Omega because I don't think they're going to run Kenny Omega versus Darby Allin for the world title at Double or Nothing. Just babyface versus babyface doesn't have the juice. And if we want to see a different side of Darby, MJF is the right guy to bring out a different side of Darby. So if that's the direction they go, so be it. But overall, another good Dynamite. Nothing crazy. The main event was the start of the show. It was Kenny versus Swerve. And after that, everything else was good, not great in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really, really good show. I mean, they really haven't had a bad. I thought last week's Dynamite
was a stinker in their terms. But I think compared to other wrestling things, it was still correct.
One of the.
That's
best
why I
shows
said
of the
their
week.
terms. Yeah,
one of the best shows of the week. So listen, I think that when you sit down on a Wednesday night and with Collision, whether you watch it live or afterwards, but I think right now that when you're sitting down to watch AEW. You're going to get a good show. You're going to get an entertaining 2 hours. You're going to feel good about your time spent. And this is the week before a go-home show. 2 more weeks.
2 weeks.
So,
2 weeks.
Yeah, so, it's kind of – they got 2 more weeks till they get to the pay-per-view. So this was kind of a, how do we – we didn't even talk about the MJF Kenny Omega promo segment that happened.
This is true.
In the match. And that was, I think, one of Kenny's best promos in the history of him in AEW.
Kenny is so good at just being the empathetic baby face and just the face of a company.
Yeah. And I think that was part of the reason why they chose to start the show with that match is because Max comes out and he does his shtick and he rags on Hangman. He says that he's never, he said it 17 times, that he's never going to be world champion again. He said, nobody's on my level. Omega comes out. He goes, well, I am on your level. He goes, you call yourself the devil. Well, I've never called myself that, but people have called me the god of pro wrestling. So maybe for this occasion, I will call myself that god versus the devil. And I thought it was one of Kenny Omega's best promos I've ever seen. But yeah,
it's
I don't
crazy
think
how much is coming up too. Like there's so much good wrestling on the horizon. Yeah. And we got so much good stuff planned over here at the Main Event Wrestling Network, and we want you guys to be a part of this journey. So if you're here watching on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 400 subscribers. Daily uploads here at the network going forward, and a lot of things in the works. Yesterday, I just debuted a new episode, a new short series, Main Event Eats. So that will be with everybody here across the network. We got to get JPJ trying some new food here and get a review up on our short series.
Maybe I'll do a North Shore beef. Have you heard of those?
No, I haven't. I want to hear about it, though. And you said you're going somewhere with the lady today, right?
Well, it's not a breakfast thing.
No word.
Yeah, this would have to be. But Pluggo, I showed Pluggo this delicacy when he came up for Bound for Glory last year. So we used to call him a three-way. We used to call him a three-way.
Mm-hmm.
But then obviously it's been changed to a North Shore beef. So it's a warm roast beef sandwich on an onion roll.
Okay.
And you get it. It used to be called a three-way. There's mayonnaise, barbecue sauce, and cheese on it. And if you've ever seen a picture of it, it is this. I can't do it. Maybe I can pull it up.
I would have to get it minus the cheese because I can't eat cheese. That's the only problem.
So then you technically.
So I would have to do a two-way with the barbecue and the mayo, right? But I still like both those things, so I think I would like it.
You should still try one. I think technically that wouldn't be an official, you know what I mean? But, I mean, if you can't have cheese, you can't have cheese.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I can. I'm not lactose. I just prefer not to eat cheese.
Got it.
It doesn't sit well with me. That's one thing.
I think for this delicacy, if you could hang it, you should.
Well, is it white cheese? I know that's a crazy question, but I really only dabble with the white cheeses because it's a mild taste to me.
I need to try to get one that looks real. Like
I was gonna say, I probably could have Googled it too and put it up on the screen real quick, but
but no, it is quite the sandwich. Pluggo, it's like
holy shit, that looks like a meat mountain.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of people around here make them.
Yeah.
But there's really a handful of spots in certain you're like, these are the cream of the crop here.
I'll tell you this right here, right now for free. Since we are friends, I will find a random pay-per-view, whatever is closest to your vicinity, and I will visit you whenever the next pay-per-view comes. Whether it's AEW or WWE, if they come to your area, let me know, and I'll come visit. How about that?
This is how it really should look with all the sauce. It should be like drenched in sauce. That doesn't have an onion roll, so that's probably a cheap one.
That looks beautiful.
But it's like yeah.
Main Event Eats right there. I see it. I see the future, and it looks bright.
I could get one of those and do a quick little. This is the North Shore beef.
Hey, and keep it under 3 minutes. Film it vertically, send it my way, and I'll upload it, man. We're doing some good things over here at the network. So hit that subscribe button for more. Sunday we will be live for a stand and deliver preview. It'll be myself, Mr. Cincinnati from the Junkies podcast. Your other half from Between Two Beards, Pluggo, will be joining us this Sunday night talking about stand and deliver. And Tino, who is always live, the marathon man, Tino's Time, will be joining us. That will be live on this channel at 7 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. The reason we are doing that a week in advance is because that pay-per-view is actually happening next Saturday, and there is a slim chance that I still go and buy a ticket and make my way to stand and deliver next Saturday. So we wanted to knock that out right now, ASAP this weekend. So come hang out with us this Sunday for Main Event Mixer, episode 45. JPJ, before you go, why don't you tell everybody what you got coming up later this week for your streams?
Yeah. Tonight, 8 p.m., Love Wrestling CA. You just mentioned him, my main squeeze, Pluggo, and I, Between Two Beards, the flagship show over at Love Wrestling. So we will be live tonight at 8 p.m. We'll be talking a little bit of everything. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking some baseball, but we'll be talking all pro wrestling. We talk a little bit of everything over there. Sunday afternoons, you can find me on Fightful Overbooked with Auntie Collins. We do a show called Coast to Coast. And then Wednesday nights, Body Slam, Dynamite Up. And then I do Raw watch-alongs on my channel and a bunch of other stuff. I'm streaming MLB The Show. I'll be streaming all afternoon today. I stream a lot of the days. So just follow me here, and you'll get all my schedules, my links, and all that fun stuff. But, yeah, that's where you can find me.
Make sure you're following JPJ, doing some great things. There's only a few other people I know that are grinding as much as I am. He's one of them, guys. This guy's keeping up. He's always live doing something. I'm always live doing something. So make sure you're following me at 2SweetKyle. The flagship show of the Main Event Wrestling Network will be live head-to-head with Between Two Beards tonight. We promise it's not intentional. We still love each other, guys. We promise. But we'll be live at 8 p.m. Eastern as well on the road to WrestleMania and AEW Dynasty talking about the week of pro wrestling. But if you guys want to keep up with Kayfabe Coffee, we are live every Tuesday morning and Thursday morning. So you can find us here at the Main Event Wrestling Network always. But until next Tuesday, we will talk to you guys next time on Kayfabe Coffee, episode 20. Take care, everyone.